Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
And in fact, guests will include Monday will be Mark Brennan, and Tuesday will be Jerry Dulac. So, yeah, congratulations to you, one of the new co-owners of the San Francisco 49ers.
How about that? I actually saw that one coming. Yeah, it's
well, of course you saw it.
6.2%. I'll tell you.
Yeah, you were one of those who bought it. I mean, you act like you're surprised.
I'll tell you what. Now this. Let's see if I actually get any sort of certificate or anything else that certifies me as an owner, or are they just not going to involve me in decisions? Probably not. I still have that restraining order on.
I vote no. I vote no.
Still have that pro day restraining order on John Lynch, so I think that factors in.
I was around it. It's like, it was, let's be honest, it was an ugly scene. Right? Like, you know what, Luna Bell, the dog, goes around the radio station?
Yeah.
That was you with John Lynch.
That's about right. Yeah, about right.
Like, oh, what are we doing here?
I'll never forget when McCarthy and Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn were there for Pro Day, and everybody's standing there trying to look around. He's got to be somewhere. He's sitting right in the middle. You could not miss him. I swear to you. Somehow, almost everybody known to man missed him.
Yeah.
Well, that was probably one of the more, non-Penn State famous moments of Pro Day.
Bizarre moment.
Yes, without a doubt.
It was a bizarre moment.
Yes.
Okay. Bizarre. Okay. This is about as quiet a week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've been watching the Jan and Conan Niederhauser saga in Chicago. That's been a day-by-day thing. Okay, now it's up to Friday. It looks like May 28th. Before May 28th, he'll make some announcement as to what he's going to do. It depends on what his evaluation is in the end. If he somehow gets himself, I think into the top 35, okay, well, now I think now it becomes a relatively easy decision. Anything outside of that becomes a difficult decision for him. And the question will be, if he's outside of that top 35, there has to be something running through his mind about, okay, if I come back to Penn State, can I make myself a first-round pick, which I think he can. I did not watch yesterday. In fact, I haven't watched, to be honest with you, I haven't watched any of the...
I've watched very little of it.
I have watched, in fact, I haven't watched the second of the NBA Combine in Chicago. I just haven't had time. I just haven't had time to do it. And, I'm not like you, like tons of free time, nothing to do. No. Do you work? I'm just
Never.
Just asking. Just wondering. Okay, I'm asking for the audience. They're not sure. So, I mean, it's just one of those quiet times. Now, playoff-wise, I mean, last night the Winnipeg Jets kept themselves alive to force a Game 6 at Dallas. Okay. For whatever reason, the top offense in the NHL has had no offense in the playoffs, and especially in this series, but they won 4-0 last night. Okay, great. The Denver Nuggets kept themselves alive as Jokic finally got some help. He's pretty much had to do it himself, although, Murray's been sick. I know that. But they're still alive, forcing a Game 7 back at Oklahoma City. Okay, winner gets Minnesota, to the excitement of the people in New York. The Celtics get the Knicks tonight. The Celtics have played most of the series with an ill Kristaps Porzingis. Now they don't have any Jason Tatum, yet they put together a strong performance to their credit in Game 5 and one going away.
Yep.
But now they've got to do it again in Game 6 to force a Game 7. And that's where we are playoff-wise. The Capitals were eliminated by Carolina last night. The Capitals threw the kitchen sink at Frederick Anderson last night. I mean, they threw everything at him. And to his credit, he played a brilliant game in net, and they just essentially waited out Washington last night. Again, it's another excellent offensive team that could not generate any offense in this series. And that's the way it's been. I mean, look, defense becomes, in every sport, it's amazing how much better defense is in the postseason, isn't it?
No, there's no doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you ask yourself, where was that in February? But it's but Florida has Toronto tonight, and Florida has a chance to win the series after Toronto laid an absolute egg.
Oh, at home.
At home,
no less.
All right, now this is not taking anything away from the defending Stanley Cup champions. That's not what I'm doing here, because they played a great game.
Yeah.
If they'd won the game 3-2, whatever, all right, you'd be like, oh, wow, what a performance. Florida played a great game. But you watch Toronto, they look like they were playing in mud. And Craig Berube, I thought, said it best after the game, and I pointed this out yesterday. He said it best. He goes, that's sports. Now, that's not the answer people want to hear.
No, of course not.
All right? Like, I need better answers than that. Over here in the back, sometimes it is that. We have a tendency to overcomplicate sports. And sometimes you just sit there and it's like under the category of it's just one of those nights.
Yeah.
And they picked a bad time to have one of those nights at home, no less. They have, I believe Austin Matthews has not scored a goal in this series. No. And you do need your stars to be your stars. And I remember this back in, talking about this with Penn State and Ohio State. And it was the game, not last year, it was the game 2 years ago. When we talked about, it was out at Columbus. And it was one of those where, when it was over with, Jack Ham and I were talking. And we said, I said, your stars had to be your stars when you need them the most. It was one of those days where some Penn State stars played great and some didn't play well. Just didn't have a big day. You look at what Penn State did in the Big Ten championship game. I felt like for the most part, Penn State stars were their stars.
Yeah.
I thought that in the game against SMU, I thought their stars were their stars. Against Boise State, absolutely.
Yep.
And in the first, second, and fourth quarters against Notre Dame, I thought Penn State stars were stars. Third quarter, no. But that's what you need, is what makes you a star is not only the ability to be consistent at a high level, but in the bigger games, in the bigger moments, you do something that makes you shine, which helps your team. I mean, that to me is the definition of a star. It's not dropping a fly ball in the World Series.
No.
Or striking out. But, boy, they're going to jump up and down. You're the league MVP. Well, no, it's like I keep telling everybody over and over again. right? Until Aaron Judge does it in the playoffs, like actually does it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and buy and tell everybody he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's not.
Right.
Okay. Because when the light's been the brightest, he's been at his worst. I mean, that's A-Rod.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it goes back to the old Bob Uecker joke. I hit a grand slam once. It was a big hit. It made the final 13-2. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you hit a grand slam.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey.
Now, I will say 09, A-Rod had a big series, World Series.
No, he did.
No doubt against the Phillies.
No, he did. There's no question about
Yep.
that.
But no, absolutely. I agree with you.
Substandard Philadelphia pitching.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
Then they go out the following year and get the following year and get Cliff Lee and can't win with those aces.
Yeah.
There's not often a pitching staff rivals the 1990s Atlanta Braves. That staff was pretty close.
Yeah. But my and I'm not saying, look, is he a great player? Yes.
Sure he is.
Yes. He is a great player. But are there a list of players I want at the plate?
Yeah. Especially in the postseason. Yeah, absolutely.
Before I get to him.
How
could you possibly say that? Easily.
Yeah. Very easily.
I remember I had arguments on this show, and Brian Tripp and I had a good one. I said seventh game of the World Series, I'd rather have John Lester than Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, and postseason especially, you look at what Kershaw's done. Yeah, there's no question. Yeah,
of the World Series, I want John Lester.
You want somebody that's been in that moment.
Kershaw. Yeah, no, that has not only been in that moment
and hasn't struggled,
but has gone out and pitched great in that moment.
Yeah,
I mean, for goodness sakes, he pitched 2 clinching games in the World Series.
Yeah,
2.
Sure.
I'd
take Madison Bumgarner over just about anybody.
Yeah, Madison Bumgarner.
That's why. But yeah, and Jack Morris. Jack Morris is another one. Yeah.
But I picked Lester because he's not going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Right. Okay.
That's
there you go.
Lester
Morris is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Jack Morris is in.
Morris. Okay. Lester's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Yet I picked him to pitch in Game 7 of the World Series over Clayton Kershaw, who is going to the Hall of Fame. Because Lester not only won not one, but 2 clinching games in the World Series as a starting pitcher.
Yeah, and it's
2007 and 2013.
Absolutely,
and pitched great in both games.
Games.
I'm sorry, but that's yeah.
Whether it's fair or unfair, somebody's and they use the term legacy and all this other stuff. A lot of that is going to be determined by what you do in the postseason. There's no question about it, and that's why when you're seeing greatest quarterbacks of all time. Dan Marino gets omitted quite a bit.
Yep.
Charles Barkley gets omitted in the game of basketball, and same goes for pitching. You look at clutch pitchers in the moments. You don't hear Clayton Kershaw's name as often as you hear guys like Sandy Koufax, guys like Bob Gibson, and guys like people that had the performances like John Lester. Heck, you look at Game 7 of the NLCS, a former Pirate and Oliver Perez is on the mound and almost shuts the Cardinals out. You take him to the bottom of the 8th with no runs, you expect to win the game, which he didn't. But I think that's the kind of performance you need in the postseason, and people remember you for it. How did Carlos Beltran get the contracts he got? Now, granted, to me, he's a Hall of Famer. Whether he gets in or not, I don't know because of the past. I think he will too. I thought the votes were pretty high but there's no doubt the postseason helps define you in so many ways, whether it's fair or not. And that's when you don't perform well in that spot, you're going to be remembered for not performing well. Heck, Ted Williams is remembered for not performing well in the World Series. That doesn't take away his greatness.
No, you had 200 against the Cardinals in 1946. But you look at today's quarterbacks. If I had a choice between Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts,
and
Joe Montana, on the final drive. I picked Joe Montana.
Oh, not a doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, how could you pick him over,
over
here in the back easily? The track record shows.
Yeah, the track record beyond a shadow of a doubt. And absolutely. And it's, but you have a guy that took him on a final drive in the Super Bowl. You have a guy that has not thrown an interception in the Super Bowl. And there's no question. I would take Joe Montana in that spot.
Right. I mean, just certain guys,
Yeah.
in that spot. I mean, you would have taken Jay Schrader, but it's
got a couple snaps in the Super Bowl when Doug Williams went down.
Remember when he was showing up here in State College?
No.
Oh, yeah, his son Brian pitched for the Spikes.
Yeah, I remember Brian. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember Brian. Brian went to UCLA. Yeah, that I remember. I don't remember Jay being related to him. That was 20 years ago. I did not remember that. I do remember Brian pitching, absolutely. Yeah. Fully remember Brian. Did not know he was related to Jay Schrader. Now, in my defense, it did take me 3 to 5 years to know that Jalen Brunson was Rick Brunson. too. I do remember.
3 to 5, huh?
Yeah, Brian's
3 to 5.
About that. Brian Schrader was actually married. Yeah, I think his wife actually worked for the Spikes. I do remember that too.
3 to 5.
I think I remembered everything about. I think I knew everything about Brian Schrader except for that part.
3 to 5. 3 to 5.
Now, he was a good quarterback, but yeah, no, I'm not taking him in the Super Bowl.
3 to 5.
Got a couple snaps in the Super Bowl.
3 to 5. It's a long road for you, isn't it? Long road. So we run down the playoffs. We did that pretty fast. I mean, it's really about where we are.
Yeah, and I think
Belichick on coaching at North Carolina. I learn every day. Okay.
There you go.
49ers sell 6.2% of the team. They misspelled your name.
No, you did. Well, of course. My full name is 9 letters, and nobody can spell it right. Now, you got to be kidding me.
And Otani marks bobblehead night with 2 home runs en route. Who cares? Like, they do so many things on ESPN that just come under the category of who cares.
Yep. Now, if you're giving the highlights of the game, you want to say, on bobblehead night, he hits 2 home runs. Okay, there you go. You don't necessarily need to make that one of your biggest headlines.
Will Judge hit 400, blast 60 home runs? Our predictions. Who cares?
Judge isn't hitting 400.
No, well, at some point he'll get hurt again.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
It's like it happens. It's like every 2 years. And this is the second year of the every 2 years.
Giancarlo Stanton's every 2 minutes. Judge is a little better.
Yeah. Then there's the Caleb Williams book. Chicago is the place quarterbacks go to die. Carl Williams, Caleb's father, told Seth Wickersham, the author of American Kings, a biography of the quarterback, in the months leading up to the draft. Caleb Williams wondered aloud to confidants, do I want to go there? Do I think I can do it with Shane Waldron? The forthcoming book to be published in September offers detailed accounts what it means to be a quarterback at various levels, from high school to college to the NFL, what it's like for legends in retirement. Well, this is where you come in.
That's right.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I guess I wasn't supposed to announce that. Sorry.
I wondered what that cake was out there for. Oh, is that for Lunabelle? Never mind. No.
Oh, no. No. Just because Lunabelle's eating the cake doesn't mean it's for her. let's see. Generational greats such as John Elway, Johnny Unitas, Warren Moon, members of the Manning family, and Steve Young, among others. Yeah, he won one Super Bowl. You guys act like it's the greatest thing ever.
No.
Won one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Doug Williams won one.
Doug Williams won one.
Trent Dilfer.
Brad Johnson won one.
Brad Johnson won
Yeah.
one. Steve Young won.
Steve Young won one.
One.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Right? You guys act like it's the greatest Super Bowl ever.
That's 6 touchdown passes. I thought he had to step up a little bit in that game.
I remember when he was at Tampa Bay.
Oh, it was scary. Yeah, that's
going to San Francisco is the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
No, there's no doubt.
He's such a talented guy, and he had all that talent around him.
Yeah.
It includes current signal callers such as Kirk Cousins and Drake May. Additionally, there are new details inside the ruthless recruitment, this is where you come in, of Texas quarterback Arch Manning and the youth quarterback circuit. It also chronicles LSU quarterback Colin Hurley's near-death car wreck in January and subsequent full recovery. Wickersham is an ESPN reporter. His first book on the New England Patriots was a New York Times bestseller. The book offers an inside look at Williams' state of mind. Carl Williams went to great lengths to try to circumvent the NFL draft. He even called Jason Lord at one point. He says, your team screwed up the draft before. How can we do it?
They're not wrong on that one. Screwed it up. I have a full list of the drafts the 49ers screwed up. How do you do it?
Wickersham writes, wanting to give his son an opportunity to choose his future employer. Well, yeah, he chose the future employer is the National Football League. What do you want? The Bears have not drafted a star quarterback since the 80s. Their recent drafts included Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields, who both, by the way, went to the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Carl Williams was worried that with the franchise's history, stadium uncertainty, and offensive performances under then head coach Matt Eberflus, Caleb Williams would not have the organizational support to succeed. I don't want my son playing for the Bears, Williams told several agents in 2024. Remember my evaluation of Caleb Williams last year?
A little bit, yeah.
I said,
yeah,
he is incredible in havoc situations.
Yeah.
The problem is 9 times out of 10, he was actually the one who created
the havoc. Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
oh.
Yeah.
Carl Williams spoke with Archie Manning, who helped Eli Manning assert a measure of control over his eventual team in 2004. Remember, the Chargers drafted Eli Manning.
Yep.
And Archie Manning did not want the then San Diego Chargers to draft Eli Manning. Well, they worked it out where the Chargers did draft Manning. It was like, oh, the Giants had the 4th pick. They took Phillip Rivers.
Yep.
And they flipped quarterbacks. So that's how it worked. And it worked out for both guys. I mean,
absolutely.
Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Rivers had a really
Rivers had incredible, yeah.
All right. Yeah. He also met with labor lawyers and agents and even considered whether his son should sign with the United Football League.
Good Lord.
And become an unrestricted NFL free agent in 2025 able to pick his team. In addition to the draft process, Carl Williams vented about the rookie wage scale, which would lock his son into a team that drafted him for up to 8 years. He calculated hundreds of millions of dollars in lost market value income. Well, I'm sorry, but the players negotiating team agreed.
Yeah, the teams agreed. Yeah.
I've said this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I'll say it 1,001. When Le'Veon Bell was trying to stay away from a second franchise tag with the Steelers, so many people are like, oh, the Steelers are wrong. It's morally wrong. No, it's not.
No, it isn't.
Le'Veon Bell's complaint was with his union.
Yeah.
They negotiated it.
Yep. Agreed.
And guess what? When the new CBA came up, did they take it out? No. Nope. You could still be franchised twice.
Yeah.
Okay? The new CBA, which was negotiated after his complaint, they didn't change it. Okay, his complaint was with his union, not with the Steelers. Right?
Yep.
said it once. I said it 1,001 times now. It's like every once in a while I just sit back and I say, you people don't get it.
No.
Okay? These people aren't evil. It's immoral what they're doing. No, it's not. It's their rules.
No, they can do
it. The players, they didn't sit there and arbitrarily go, I'm sorry, it's the rule of the Steelers. We can franchise you twice. Oh, my God, they're illegal.
Yeah.
No. It's right there in black and white. You can do it. Why? Because the players agreed to it. And then when they did the new CBA after this happened, it's still in
it. Yeah. Yep.
It's I don't apologize for the ability to read.
No.
Okay?
No.
All right. Yeah. The rookie cap is unconstitutional, Carl Williams told Wickersham, later adding that the CBA is the worst piece of blank I've ever read. It's the worst in sports history. After an up and down final season,
not seeing the NFL strike since 1987, so they got to be doing something right.
Well, they were locked out before one of them. That's where Robert Kraft stepped in, and this is after Robert Kraft's wife died.
Right.
Yeah. Remember, Jeff Saturday was one of the player leaders of that. He was a center with the Colts.
He was. Peyton Manning yelled at him several times on the sidelines. They got into it a few times.
At the NFL Combine that year, he met with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off. Williams began to dream of what it would like to play for Minnesota. I need to go to the Vikings, he told his father. Let's do it, his father replied. But both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a divisional rival was extremely unlikely. Bears GM Ryan Poles stood firm, telling Williams, we're drafting you no matter what. That left one option: to publicly attack the Bears and the city of Chicago, something you've done before yourself. What? Hoping it would make the situation untenable, similar to what John Elway did with the Colts in 83.
Yep.
All right. This is Carl Williams saying, I don't care about this. He says, I don't agree with what's going on. I'm interested in making sure that he can do what he wants to do. But Caleb was concerned that if they did try to make everybody look bad, and the Bears refused to trade him, would make a tough situation worse. In the end, Caleb Williams told Wickersham, I wasn't ready to nuke the city. After a pre-draft visit to the Bears facility, Williams believed he could be part of the process. I can do it for this team, Caleb told his dad. I'm going to the Bears. The Bears declined comment. The book also sheds lights on Williams' tumultuous rookie season in which both Eberflus and Waldron were fired and the Bears lost 10 straight games. Something you're used to in watching.
That's right.
Team.
Absolutely.
When's the last time we won a Super Bowl?
95. 94, 95. 94 season, 95 year.
Tampa Bay's won one since. Yeah.
Tampa Bay's won 2 since.
Yeah. Not good. Yeah. Caleb Williams played well as a rookie for the most part, despite coaching instability. 63%, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks, sacked, a league-leading 68 times. Yeah. They brought in Ben Johnson as the head coach. Yeah. See, but this is this part's interesting, except I'm going to bring up something that's not written down here because, I mean, why would they get to the
they can't put facts in there. Why would they get
to the football
Can't put facts
part,
in there.
It's like, being able to be in this position, being able to have a first year the way I did, ups and downs, and to be able to come in here to be confident as I was last year or possibly even more, be able to get here with the group that we have. I can't wait to get to work with these guys. Him pushing me is a key. I know that, and he knows that. I can't wait to be able to help and learn more, blah, 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 blah. I see a chance of greatness here for him, Johnson said. He says he's really excited to get to work right now, and he'll be the best version of himself in 2025. That's great. Okay, so here's one of the issues he had last year. It's in the book. It's not in this article.
No, can't be that.
Unbelievable. Okay. Had no idea how to watch video. None. He had no idea how to watch video. So let's take you back to Drew Aller's freshman year. The senior quarterback is Sean Clifford. You have the usual circle of let's play the young guy, don't play the old guy.
Sure.
Okay. Yet, if you have a confident and secure older player, you know what they do? They teach the.
They teach and lead. Yeah.
The number of times I've seen over the years, watching practice is more than just watching, first team, second team.
Right.
It's more than just watching performance. You observe a lot of things when you're at practice. And I don't mean, I don't mean the 10 to 12 minute window the media gets. They don't have a lot of time to go in there and try and do ABC. You know what I mean? I mean, it's hard to do that in 12 minutes, okay? Or 15 minutes, whatever the number happens to be. That to do that once a week, that's hard. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form impugning a short window. In other words, when you're out there every day, hours at a time, all right, you have a chance to observe more, okay? And it's not just who's first team, second team, who's having a good week, who's struggling, whatever. One of the things I'll observe from time to time will be older players pulling younger players aside and saying, okay, that's, you didn't quite play that right. You've got to play it this way. I mean, so many veterans I've seen over the years. I remember Tariq Castro Fields as a more recent example doing something like that all the time. Saquon Barkley would pull other running backs aside and tell them, hey, look, you got to do it like this. Miles Sanders attached himself to Saquon's hip trying to learn, a lot of the nuances of what's going on out there. Offensive linemen doing that. And when you're secure in yourself and who you are, right, where you're still working every day because you're trying to keep your job, right? That you can pull guys aside. I see Zakee Wheatley do that all the time with guys. Pull them aside, talk to them. Hey, you got to play it this way. And I think that that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now back to the Drew Aller example. Sean Clifford learned how to watch video film from Trace McSorley, right? And Trace immersed himself in it, which then in turn immersed Sean in it. Well, who do you think passed that on to Drew Aller?
Right.
Not just watching video, but how to watch it, why you're watching it, what you're looking for, okay? And if you were to pull Drew Aller aside now and ask him to say, how valuable was it in that freshman year that, that Sean Clifford gave you some of the nuances from a player's point of view of how to watch video? He'd probably give you like a 5-minute answer on it. Now back to Caleb Williams. Okay. This is what I do find surprising about Lincoln Riley. I can't quite get a handle on Lincoln Riley.
No, he's got. I agree with you.
I can't quite get a handle on him. Remember, Caleb Williams was at Oklahoma with him.
Yeah.
The quarterback in front of him, I believe, was Spencer Rattler.
Yes.
All right. I have to question whether, and I don't know because I've never been around Spencer Rattler in my life. Did Spencer Rattler take any time to show Caleb Williams from a player's perspective how to watch video? Or did Lincoln Riley take the time?
Yeah, I think the latter is a better question because at that time, you can make the argument Rattler was competing for his job in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not that everybody doesn't on a daily basis, but I think that's where you have to insert coach, I think, even more in a spot there where he's got to step in and, okay, here's how it's done. And Lincoln Riley is a guy that does not take criticism well either, and that's the other part of it. As a coach, you got to be able to do that.
No,
coach and quarterback are going to be the two most criticized, no matter what. You got to be able to take it.
But Now when he goes to USC, he still has Lincoln Riley.
Right.
But he walks in as the starter.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, big difference.
He's
Absolutely.
not walking in as somebody who's going to have a mentor. He's expected to be the mentor because he knows the Lincoln Riley offense. Was he? Right?
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
I think you look at his reactions.
I saw him. I mean, Moss obviously had a really good bowl game in the Holiday Bowl. And
the emotions, obviously.
And he had like this last year.
Exactly.
I mean, I've kind of felt like the Penn State game was a microcosm of what the season was like for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He had some really nice moments early and then boom, and
sure.
down. But in the book, it details Williams did not know how to watch video. Well, no offense, you have to.
You have to be able to.
Better.
Yeah, no question.
You have to know what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, and if it and
how you're looking for it.
Sometimes if you don't see it, sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But you have to know what you're looking for, why you're looking for it. You have to start by what you're looking for. Instead of just sitting there, I'm watching it. Okay. Well, what'd you get out of it?
Exactly.
Okay. You have to know how to do it. There has to be, what is the reason you're, what are the notes you're taking from this, pro and con?
Right.
Okay. I got us into the wrong protection. Right. He ran the right route. I threw the ball the wrong spot. Okay. Or I threw the ball the right spot. He ran the wrong route. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just using some examples here. I fouled up that coverage.
Yeah.
Okay. I identified the wrong guy as the mic. Right? I didn't take the key off the safety because the safety was going to, or they tricked me. I thought they were in man. It turned out they were in zone. Or I thought they were in zone and it turned out they played man. I'm just giving you examples of things that you're looking for as a quarterback. And in this book, they talk about that was one of the things that he struggled with because he had no idea really how to do it. And to me, that brings into question Lincoln Riley because somebody had to teach this guy how to watch. Well, that's the one thing he had his entire time. Lincoln Riley was his coach every step of the way, whether it was Oklahoma or USC. He was the same coach. I mean, his high school teammate, Olu Fashion, who probably had a better read on how to watch tape because of the people he was around here with. Miles Dredd probably could have, another Gonzaga guy. They're all together the same high school.
They are. Yeah.
You worry me.
Yeah.
But that's in the book as well. It's not in this story.
Right.
But that's in the book as well, where it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. And there's absolutely, people are going to look at, writers are going to look at what sells. That's not going to sell. That's going to be a legit criticism that is going to be overlooked. But you look at you hear these kind.
See, I look for the football thing.
Exactly.
See,
Absolutely.
I look for football things. Maybe that's my issue that I look for football.
Well, no, and that's how it should be.
Right? Well, no, I don't mind. The drama. It doesn't mean anything to me.
I would also say, in the defense of Caleb Williams' father and Archie Manning, there are legitimate examples. Now, put it this way. On the flip side of it, you're being drafted to play in the NFL, a spot that a lot of people have never had the chance to be. So deal with that and appreciate it a lot more than you do for some of these people. Most do. There's the small percentage that don't. But there are examples, absolutely, where the Chargers did not look like a good spot for a quarterback. They fouled up having a guy that is a sure first ballot Hall of Famer. beyond a doubt. The Bears have had moments, no question. You look at that Thanksgiving Day game against the Lions, even last year. I have no idea what on earth they were doing at the end of that game. Absolutely no idea. And it got Matt Eberflus fired. Eberflus. Trying to say Eberflus and fired in the same sentence was not the easiest.
How about Kyle Shanahan and fired?
That won't happen. You got Matt Eberflus.
Oh, I forgot. He's a genius.
Yeah, that's right. Just can't adjust. Absolutely. You get Matt Eberflus fired, and in a spot there where look, that's.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, absolutely. But that's. I just had no idea what they were doing, and you go to the past. There are many times with quarterback play in Chicago, even with their great teams. Not including Mike Dick era, Right. Jim McMahon can't stay on the field. That's not his problem.
Right. I mean, it's amazing the season Jim McMahon's healthy.
Exactly.
Everybody talks about the Bears' defense. It was great, and it was great. They won the Super Bowl because Jim McMahon was healthy all season.
Yeah, and he had very underrated players surrounding him. Well, Peyton obviously wasn't, but wide receivers especially. Yeah. But you look at what they did post McMahon. You look at what they did into the Dick Geron era and into the Eberflus era. There's no question. It's valid to have questions about the Bears organization when it comes to the quarterback position. No question. So these are valid arguments, yes. I would agree with that, but it's not the whole story, is the flip side of it.
Yeah. Very good points. It's really been a good show for you.
Aside from not getting Matt Eberflus's name correctly.
It doesn't matter. Whenever I do that, everybody knows I'm kidding.
Everybody, absolutely. I would hope. I would hope so.
I shouldn't say everybody knows I'm kidding. They'll be like,
there's one. Yeah, there's always one.
Okay, the key is I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
Okay, as long as you know I'm kidding. Yeah. You don't think I'm kidding, then I'll apologize to you the whole way.
Yeah. But I do think with Ben Johnson there, I'm not going to say he has no excuse. I'm going to say he has reasoning to be better. Because I think Johnson knows what he's doing. He's proven that. The job he did in Detroit was exceptional. And now I think you're in an opportunity there where I think Williams is going to progress in his second year.
Well, look, Dunze at wide receiver helps.
Yeah.
Kmet and Loveland as tight ends. And for people who are like, oh, they should have drafted Warren.
Yeah.
Warren is a little more similar to Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet, yeah.
Okay, Loveland is not. So they wanted different kind of guys. Okay, I get that. The running back situation is okay. Well.
They have, Monongai's still there, running back too. And the flip side, they still have Swift, right?
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, it could be worse. There's no. I'd say it's okay. But the one thing's for certain, they got the better end of the Panthers trade. I think they built a team around that.
Right.
I think that's a big part of it.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I agree with you entirely. I think that it's pieces around him. Yeah. At spots could be better, but I think he had a better core last year as a rookie with the number one pick in the draft than a lot of other number one picks have had.
Yeah.
Going into. I thought he had a good situation. And Williams didn't have a terrible year last year. He was a rookie. And he showed signs of being a rookie. He showed signs of being a potential franchise player.
Right. No doubt. By the way, Major League Baseball and ESPN have not talked since the opt-out, despite stories to that. And you see Chris Berman's contract is going to run him through his 50th year at ESPN.
Nice.
Good for him.
Yeah. Looks like
it'll be 2029.
Nice. Looks like the mothership is getting Rich Eisen back, too, it appears, in the fall.
On radio.
On radio, yes.
Not TV.
No.
No.
No, NFL Network will still have him.
It is a similar deal to Pat McAfee, where it's an independent show, but they're airing it.
Yes.
Which is fine. And Rich Eisen's very good at what he does.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of his professors at one point along the way that he thought the world of was Lou Prado.
Nice. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
it's Lou Prado.
Yep, absolutely.
And, yeah, Lou's one of the greatest ever, without question.
Yeah, sure was.
So, Penn State, by the way, officially signing Reggie Groden and Ivan Jurcic. Jurcic from Croatia. Groden from Larchmont, New York. Groden is a 6'5" guard who played at the Newman School in Massachusetts. Jurcic did not play in Massachusetts. He's from Zagreb, Croatia, and played at the Sunrise Christian Academy in Kansas. Versatile big guy, 7-footer. So those two guys have officially signed with Penn State. They are not done on the signings. Okay, they are not done. And we'll let it play out from there. But, I mean, that's just Chelsea put out the release today, so we wanted to at least pass that along to everybody that they've done it. Men's lacrosse has a chance. What are they playing, Sunday?
Yes. I think it's
Ohio
Sunday.
State. Chance to get to the Final Four again. How about that? It could be another Final Four team for Penn State. Baseball beat Xavier last night. I think they got Xavier here tonight, and then it's
Harrisburg tonight, and home here tomorrow for Senior Day.
Tomorrow for Senior Day. Yeah, because I talked to Joe Putnam yesterday, and anybody who's involved in Penn State baseball, including Joe as the public address announcer, they're taking to Harrisburg.
Nice.
It's going to be a Penn State operation.
Pretty much home game. Nice.
Yep.
I like that.
So that's tonight.
Nice.
Down at the island.
Yeah.
I've never been to the island.
I have never been either.
The Senators, the Harrisburg Senators, called me last year, and they wanted to know if I would be interested in throwing out a first pitch. And I sent them your picture. And
I've thrown out a couple first pitches, not for the Senators, though.
Right. And I said, we're just throwing around things. I said, I'd come down, I'd do it, sure. Like, hey, that's great. It never got back to me.
Never got back to you.
I threw out, I think, was it last year? No, 2 years ago I threw out. I've thrown them out in Altoona State College and at Williamsport.
Nice.
I've done those three places. Curve game here and
done State College, done Reading. Reading Phillies. Reading Fighting Phils,
Yeah?
Yeah.
God, big star like you.
Yeah. Those are the two, though.
We have a chance to go between Jason Lord and Mike Schmidt.
I know. How about it? What are they thinking of? Thank God Mike Schmidt told them no.
Let's vote.
And then they literally said, here to throw out the first pitch is Mike Schmidt, and I appear, and forget about it. Yeah,
at least you wore.
I had no chance.
At least you wore a 20 jersey. That was good. Oh, goodness gracious.
Nothing beat when Tony Riccardi was throwing out the first pitch here.
Just don't bounce it. That's why I tell everybody.
Yeah, just aim high. Absolutely, aim high. If you throw a ball, so be it. You're getting it in there at least. But when Tony Riccardi, was it his first pitch, when he stopped and took the mic? I think JD was the GM at the time, took the mic and said, "I've got to do this. I've been waiting years to do it." That was when Morandini was the coach of the Cross Cutters and did the Harry Callis, Mickey Morandini, and then Morandini saluted him. That was absolutely awesome. That was classic.
Wow. That is classic.
Yes. I think if you grew up in eastern Pennsylvania, well, first of all, obviously, Penn State Sports Network, and like you said, you learned from so many great people that we grew up to. But the other part, that you grew up in eastern Pennsylvania, Harry and Whitey were on the radio in the backyard at some point. Sure. There is no doubt about that. Absolutely.
Sure they were.
Yeah, that is a radio team. If you're in this generation of the Phillies and you did not have the chance to listen to them, you missed out. That's some of the absolute great calls.
And with the Andy Musser.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember Andy was one of those perfect guys that to be the two. Like Jim the Possum Woods. Jim Woods was the perfect two. Work with Bob Prince.
Yeah.
And then
Prince was amazing.
But Jim Woods was the two.
Yeah, sure.
And he was terrific. And then Woods went to the Red Sox and was with Ned Martin. And Ned Martin was the one. And Woods was the two. Phenomenal. Guy was a great announcer. I mean, some guys are like Bill O'Donnell was a great two with the Orioles. Right? I mean,
yeah.
I think Jack Buck was actually the two to Harry Carey.
He was the two to Harry Carey, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Joe was the two to Jack for several broadcasts.
Yeah. But they're like, some guys end up being great in the number two role.
Yep.
You know, hey, look, when it's your innings, it's your innings.
It's your innings,
not,
sure.
You know,
Yep, that was the same day. Yeah.
Enoch came in, but then we've exchanged emails over the years. And
yeah, no ego. Absolutely no ego.
Family, my job feeds mine. I mean, it's like, you know,
absolutely.
Which is the attitude you have to take in these jobs.
No question.
I mean, you know, you have to know how fortunate you are to have it.
Yes.
Okay? But at the same time, like, you know, it's like, and Jerry's in the hallway. You want to know why he's in the hallway? He's the one who brought in your cake.
I'll tell you.
And the show comes full circle. Preakness is tomorrow. There is no Kentucky Derby winner.
No Kentucky Derby winner yet.
Again, they have to change the schedule. And this is something Dick Girardi and I have talked about so many times over the years, that in order to make, I think, horse racing more exciting, first Saturday in May, first Saturday in June.
Yep.
4th of July weekend.
July weekend. Absolutely. I agree.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Now it gives horses chance to rest.
Yes.
Horses chance to rest. And it's best for the horses, best for the sport.
Agreed.
And to have a 4th of July weekend Belmont with the possibility of a triple crown winner, whoa,
absolutely awesome.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of this, the short schedule, it's rough. That's why what American Pharoah and Justified did. Why did it take 37 years?
Yeah, you're right.
From Affirm to American Pharoah. It took 37 years. Just like then people forget, it took 25 years between citation and secretariat.
Yeah, secretariat, yeah.
It's hard to do.
Absolutely.
But it's also brutal on the horses
to
try and do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And so there'll be no Kentucky Derby winner. Next week, though, we'll talk about the Indianapolis 500. No.
The luster that has completely been lost in that race, where it was that race, that when you think about it, and there was that weekend.
That used to be Memorial Day.
Absolutely.
It used to be Memorial Day itself.
Yeah, it was Memorial Day. Well, you had that race, and then you had the I have no idea who sponsors it, and my apologies to who sponsors it now, but you had the Coca-Cola 600, the race in Charlotte at night. So you had an exceptional weekend for racing when it came to Memorial Day weekend. You had Indy, and then you had the big NASCAR race in Charlotte.
Well, Rob Blackman, who does Purdue basketball, works the pits on the Indy race broadcast on radio. And I'm going to see Rob on Monday, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
We're at that Big Ten golf outing in Chicago. Don Fisher, Ted Albrecht, Gary Dolphin, Paul Keels.
Nice.
Right, Brian Bush, Dave Ennett, Brian Barnhart, Mike Grimm, Matt LePay, Rob Blackman.
Some of these guys have put up with me too. I gotta give them credit for that.
So you got 10 of the schools are represented. Will Tiemann was supposed to go, but he's got some play fly meeting. I told him, I said, for goodness sake, I haven't blown that off.
They gave me a pink slip.
I went to the one on Wednesday last week. I went. Okay. So, yeah. You know, Billy McKinney, the mayor.
The mayor?
The mayor will be there. Billy's one of the greatest guys ever. Right. So, I think he's the mayor of Zion, I think. Yeah, he's the mayor of Zion, Illinois. Right? And he can't be there Monday because he has some mayor's conference in Las Vegas. Like, they never have those things in Pocatello, Idaho. For some reason. Come on. We're going to have a mayor's conference in Caribou, Maine. Why?
Why? Exactly.
Try to keep attendance down. It's like the ACC meetings are in Amelia Island. Really? I'm shocked.
Brett McMurphy was there. Other than that, I'm not sure who else.
Golly. All right. Well, have a great weekend.
Absolutely.
That's right. The Indianapolis 500 weekend is your
Metallica's that Sunday.
Weekend.
That's Sunday, yes.
That's Sunday, so you won't even watch the race.
No, probably not.
Right?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'll be navigating through Philadelphia traffic.
So instead of watching cars go around in an oval.
Nope. So I'm going to be watching cars at a standstill for 200 miles.
200 laps.
Yep. I'll be doing 200 laps around the Schuylkill.
Which is going to look the same over and over again. You're going to listen to the same songs you've heard over and over again for decades.
And be doing 200 laps at the Schuylkill, trying to navigate through traffic.
Excuse me, but Pope Leo XIV navigated that and survived.
Oh, I've survived it many times.
Oh, you're sitting here, obviously. You act like there's certain things we can't put two and two together.
That's right.
I'm sitting here.
It's like when you come back from it. Oh, did you survive the concert? Well, I'm here, right?
What do you think I did? It's like if I eat something bad. Right? If I eat something that's like, and I'll get like the look.
Yeah.
And I'll get, look, I made it this far.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
It's like I made it this far. All right. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And have a great time in 9 days at Metallica.
That's right.
Let me know if they play anything new.
They won't. Well, they will. They play the 72 seasons, but they played it last time I was there with MetLife, so probably not much new.
Is this at the Link?
That's at the Link, yeah. Yeah, they're there.
You have good seats?
Yeah. Yeah, not too bad.
Where do you like to, idealistically, where do you like to sit?
Lower level at this point.
Lower level?
Yeah.
Do you want to be back a little bit or near the front?
I'm probably near the front.
Obviously the stage
probably near the front, especially if it's an arena show.
Because it's just because it's elevated just
enough. It's elevated just enough. Yeah, and floor at this point. Yeah, I can't do it anymore. That's
right.
Especially a band like Metallica.
Right.
No.
Yeah, because that wall's what, 10 feet high?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's good. That's good sight level.
Yeah, lower level. That's
good. Yep. Yeah, I mean, beats what you did for WrestleMania. You were in that.
I was in the very cheap seats first night.
The upper deck. I remember flying back.
I was 9 rows from the top.
I can't remember where I was flying. I was flying into Philadelphia. I can't remember where it was from. It was
Jacksonville, I think.
Jacksonville. It was right after you'd done there. Yeah. And we flew right over the deck. And I thought, that's where Jason was.
That's probably where I sat, yep. Right up on the light pole there. It was me trying to see.
What's really bad is that, like, my view from the plane was probably
better than mine. Oh, man. Especially with the spotlights they had there. My goodness.
Unreal. All right. For the third time, we close.